now on the line is Governor Albert Bryan Jr. He's governor of the United States Virgin Islands and just delivered his State of the Territory address. And so, Governor, I promise I will give you the opportunity to boast about your area's weather. But I will say that here in New England, it finally popped into the 20s this week. So, New Englanders are wearing shorts around, and we're not all that impressed by your beautiful 70 and 80-degree weather, I'm sure. But, Governor, before you boast about the beautiful leisure vacations that people can take, you did just deliver the State of the Territory address. We have a business and economic news show here, and I'm interested to hear from you as to what you view, the major themes of your address that you recently delivered on the state of the Virgin Islands.
Well, good morning and actually, good afternoon. I mean, the major theme there was anchored in progress, and we're talking about all the things that are going on in the Virgin Islands in the private and as well as the public sector. We are just at the beginning of a $25 billion remake. Our recovery includes our hospitals, our schools, all of our undergrounding, water, sewer, our power plants. Everything is being redone. And at the same time, we're really doing well in the private sector market. We're at 3.6% 3.6% unemployment. In the last 6 years, 7 years of my tenure, we've grown our GDP by 25%. We're really on fire. The problem is that much like the rest of the nation, inflation is doing a real good job on us here. Last year, we experienced 7%. In some of the years, we experienced 9% inflation, especially on the smaller island of St. John. So lots of good stories to tell. We're converting our whole grid system now. We're almost, we say we have the most solar per capita, and we're adding more, or about 60% of our daytime running power on St. Croix is now solar, and we're expanding that in St. Thomas and St. John district as well too. So doing really well economically, but we're feeling the pinch of that inflation, and every single dollar counts.
I was going to ask about that. The complaints that you hear across the country right now, a lot of them do stem from the cost of electricity and utility bills that people are seeing. Given your territory, the fact that you're a series of small islands, I would imagine the ability to produce energy there, is it heavily, obviously solar is a big piece of it. Otherwise, is it heavily reliant on burning oil?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, before these solar fields, we were probably like 90%
Wow.
on fossil fuel. And one of the things that we boast about, that we were able to keep the light bill, the percentage, the cost of energy the same over the last 7 years. But our energy is 43 cents per kilowatt. Most places are paying like 10 or 12.
Sure.
So it's four times that of the national average. And I had to do that in order to, keep the economy going, because we've had 53 cents, like you imagine it going up to five times the national average. And that really crippled us in terms of our small businesses and whatnot here. But, tourism is up. We're up from 1.6 to 2.5 million people.
Wow.
We're adding a new berth. We're building two brand new airports. The thing that we're worried about, especially now in this immigration climate that we're in, is workers, right? We need people to build. We have last year alone, we issued $11 billion in contracts. We're talking about an economy that's only $5 billion. So the government alone issued twice the size of the economy in government contracts. And that is going to continue this year, adding at least another 2 or 3 billion. And so where do all those workers come from? That's really the challenge now. This is my last year in office, but I expect the way the Northeast weather is going, our tourism season will remain strong.
I would
And
expect so, yeah.
well, if it'll make you feel a little better today, we're feeling a cold front. It's down to like 80 or something like that.
You poor
I was
thing.
on the beach this weekend talking to some people from Boston, and they were smiling so hard their face almost broke. I mean,
Yeah, it might have been a personal friend of mine. A friend of mine just got back from a week on St. John and was all smiles when he returned. You talked a lot about economic stability, and I note especially the unemployment rate substantially lower than the mainland United States unemployment rate, which is it speaks to a strong economy, also speaks to challenges, obviously hiring workers, but it does seem to lead into something that you've talked to us about before, which are the benefits for U.S. stateside businesses relocating to the Virgin Islands. And again, St. Thomas, St. John, St. Croix. Can you speak a little bit to some of those benefits that you see major businesses getting when they relocate?
Well, more than ever now, I think things are really looking up for us. One of the little known facts is that the Virgin Islands sits outside the U.S. customs zone. So all of the Trump tariffs that have been imposed do not count for us. So you can bring in a foreign-made good into the Virgin Islands at a 1% customs duty, at 30% value, and it goes back to the mainland as a U.S.-made product. So we've been talking to a lot of people who are facing tight tariff hurdles as a result of the new changes. But then even after that, then, as a corporation operating in the Virgin Islands has an export product, anything from hotels to finance, you get a 90%, 100% tax break on your state taxes, and then you get a 90% tax break on your federal income taxes. So your effective tax rate is somewhere around 1.73 to 2.3% annually. And that has really enabled people to grow their businesses with using the same U.S. currency, and then being able to do that. Like the other thing that we have too is we have private banks that enjoy the same privileges, the same benefit package. You can have a non-depository bank financing your projects other places, and that bank doesn't pay any taxes except that 10% of the going rate. So it's a great kept secret. I recently just came from Ghana, speaking to people about West African exports and how the Virgin Islands can be a gateway into the mainland USA because we're tax exempt, tariff exempt on all products. And we make the determination of what our tariffs should be. So it's a good place to be right now. The other thing that's going really well for us is, now that Maduro, or the President Maduro, has been removed from Venezuela, we have the third largest refinery in the Western Hemisphere, and it was built to refine Venezuelan crude. So we're getting a lot of people calling now. That refinery we're trying to get it open. It was closed during the Biden era. And the Trump era is looking very positive for us in terms of getting it open. So if we really start getting all that Venezuelan crude back into the U.S., our refinery is one of them that we expect to be started up, which will add to our growing economy. Once again, we need employment, need workers.
Governor, you pointed out that this most recent State of the Territories address was your final. Is there anything you would highlight or like to highlight as your most proud accomplishments during your time in office in the territories?
For us, the one thing that two things I'm extremely proud about. COVID crippled a lot of the Caribbean and a lot of the world in terms of their tourism product. And we've never made so much money as COVID. We managed that real well and brought in a lot. Our numbers are actually down from COVID in terms of getting people in here. And then we figured out a way to keep our government retirement system solvent. It's the worst retirement system in the world. In the most insolvent retirement system in the world, rather. And we were managed to save that and put a little life into it. I'm particularly proud about that since so many people depend upon that here. But we've been open for business. We hung our shingle 7 years ago, and we've seen the first hotel in 30 years built in the Virgin Islands. We got 2 or 3 coming along, and other projects that we've just been able to say yes, yes, yes to business. What can we do? And it worked out really well for us. These pesky term limits we got to get rid of them.
That's Governor Albert Bryan Jr., who joins us today to talk about his recent State of the Territory address. Governor, thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate it, and I'm sure we'll talk again soon.